On the phone with me, return guest to the program. He's on with us quite often, Larry Pratt with the Gun Owners of America. Good morning, Larry. How you doing?
Good morning, Amy. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in Cheyenne. Yeah. You know, we get more...
I think it's warmer there than it is here.
And you are where?
Washington, D.C.
Well, it's always warm in Washington for other reasons, I think.
You bet.
But anyways, Larry, we're going to talk today about gun control, the gun control debate in light of recent school shootings. Of course, we all know about last year, I think it was December, the Newtown, the shooting in Newtown.
Right.
There's been others since then. There was just a recent one. You told me a teacher got stabbed?
Yeah, I was just kind of listening, not carefully, but it was a school incident, wherever it was, and I think a 14-year-old student had... knifed the teacher, killed the teacher. So it shows we need more gun control, obviously.
Right, and every time we have a school shooting, the gun control debate, or an incident in a school, the gun control debate heats up, correct?
Well, the thing that perplexes us at Gun Owners of America is why we continue to experience shootings in these gun-free zones, and that's the only place where mass murders have occurred in our country, is gun-free zones. It's long overdue that we have laws against gun-free zones. Unless you want to provide airport-style security, invasive security, then you cannot prevent people from having a gun to protect themselves. This is just really overdue. We've got to make a change in what we're doing in this country.
Well, we have a caller, so let's take that real quick. Larry, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Good morning, you're on the Morning Zone with Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America.
Happy Thursday from Skits.
Hey, Skits, how you doing?
Not too awful bad. Well, you notice that they have a school shooting, or they have Newtown and the Sandy Hook thing, and right away on the heels of that there's gun control debate. Well, I got my recent issue, the NRA magazine, and seems they got a hold of a whole playbook that they have for pushing in gun control, which means every time they have one of these crises, they jump on it with a big emotional response. And how can you be against gun control in light of this? And I just want to remind everybody of the words of Rahm Emanuel: "We must not let a good crisis go to waste."
Well, Larry, you have any response to that?
That seems to be the way the gun control debate has been conducted. It's opportunistic. When folks that don't like guns, I think in many cases, they project onto us what they themselves see in themselves.
The criminal always accuses the other person of what they're guilty of.
Or if I had a gun, I know I couldn't be trusted with it because I have such a violent temper. Well, good. If angry liberals don't believe in having guns, then perhaps they shouldn't. But that doesn't apply to the rest of us.
Thank you, Skit.
Hey, I flushed twice. It's a long way to Washington.
All right, Skits. Thanks for calling in. So, Larry, he asked you the same question I think that I did. It's this is all politics, is what it is. Every time one of these issues occur, it is politically expedient for people to react in a certain way. Am I correct in that assumption?
It's very predictable, unhappily, and it's the same people every time. There's certain politicians that make it their cause to promote more government control and make it so that individuals have less freedom to protect themselves. It's the same people that are interested in increasing taxes and regulating business to the point that it can't efficiently function. It's the same people that brought us Obamacare, which, by the way, is in itself a massive threat to gun owners, because Obamacare says you have no more medical privacy. Goodbye. Now our medical records can be pawed through by bureaucrats using computers, and if they find that somebody had a antidepressant prescribed to them for some sort of, a mild condition. They just couldn't shake the blues or whatever. That's already starting to cost people their guns. They get the knock on the door when medical records are matched with firearms owners' lists, which is not supposed to exist, but of course the feds do it anyway. And in places like New York, where they do have registered gun owners, there they've already begun taking people's guns precisely by matching the two lists of names. So we're in a very dangerous situation with this expansion of government control of our medical records. They are going to use it for bad purposes.
Well, Larry, we have another phone call, so let's go ahead and take it before the break. Oh, good morning. Well, that was rude. They wouldn't wait. So if that was you, call back 632-6500. That's it, 632-6500. We're going to take a quick break. There it is, Larry. Let's go ahead and take that and see if they're there.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on the Morning Zone.
Hey, good morning, folks. Good point, Larry, on how the left accuses us of what they're guilty of. And here's another consistency in their how they argue issues is with charity and welfare, if you notice. It seems that, they've always been free to pay extra taxes, the more rich, and to give charity anytime they want, but it seems that they won't do it unless they're forced to. So it's no longer charity then.
They're generous with other people's money, and that's called socialism. And as Margaret Thatcher said, I think during the time she was actually Prime Minister in England, socialism works fine until you run out of other people's money.
Yep, that's perfect.
Thank you, caller. All right, Larry, we're going to take a quick break. It's about a 3-minute break, and we'll be back to talk to Larry Pratt with Gun Owners of America about the gun control debate, as it always heats up whenever there's an issue in a school. We'll be back after this.
You're in the Morning Zone on AM 650 KGAB.
Feel the Rush. Rush Limbaugh, weekdays on AM 650 KGAB.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Zone on AM 650 KGAB. A little heavy metal. I kind of like it. On the phone with me, Larry Pratt with Gun Owners of America, talking about the gun control debate and the political part of it. Larry, as we said before the break, every time something happens in a school situation, the debate heats up again, and then the rest of the time people don't talk about it. But when something happens, it does heat up again, and you said a lot of the debate is predictable, correct?
It's very predictable. The agenda of the folks that believe in big government is very much a part of the gun pros control point of view, and they are just unceasing. But I think the pushback is now beginning to have a better focus. We've got champions like Ted Cruz who are willing to challenge the liberal orthodoxy on a wide range of issues. And that's really got folks, I know here in Washington, concerned because they're not used to being resisted. And their heads are exploding, and they're calling him all kinds of things. Liberal Republican John McLoser, a.k.a. McCain from Arizona, the guy that lectures Republicans on how to win after having lost so soundly his own presidential bid, has been calling people like Ted Cruz wacko birds, when in fact John McCain really has no ground to stand on for lecturing the rest of us.
Well, Larry, we do have another phone call, so let me take that real quick before we run out of time. Good morning, you're on the Morning Zone. Oh, they hung up. So anyways, it is interesting what's been going on in the last couple of weeks. There's our phone caller. Good morning, you're on the Morning Zone.
Hi, Amy.
You have a question?
I do. I have a question to ask you, Larry. when is the church itself going to stand up for our rights? I have a pastor that fiercely endorses our gun rights. When will we have more pastors doing that?
That I think is a very good question, and I'm not quite sure how to address it. I know we've done something in that area. We've put out a piece. It's on our website under our fact sheet section. It's at gunowners.org, and then drop down on the fact sheet section to probably 1999, because we've got them there by year. It's called Bible and Guns, and it's a little treatise of some 20 pages, I guess, dealing with what the Bible has to say about gun control, and it says a lot about using lethal force in self-defense.
Yes.
And that's something that is sanctioned, I would even suggest required by Scripture to protect life. And if somebody is threatening life in a criminal fashion, he doesn't have any rights. He can only expect to be shot, and that's something that we should be prepared to do. That's the 5-second version of what's in that little tract of the Bible and Guns, but it really goes through virtually every verse in Scripture that has something to say about using lethal force, using force in self-defense.
Thank you, Larry. I do appreciate it.
Betcha.
Thank you very much, caller. And where can they find that information, Larry? If people want to look it up?
gunowners.org, and then you go, once you're at gunowners.org, look on the toolbar at the top. There's one of the tabs is for fact sheets, and when that drops down, you look through down to, I believe it's in 1999 that we posted that.
We do have another phone caller. Let's take it right now. Good morning. You're on the Morning Zone with Larry Pratt.
Well, good morning, Amos. This is Ron. How are you today?
Hey, Ron. How you doing?
Good. Hey, Larry, I've always believed that the biggest problem we have in this country with gun control is less the politicians than it is the Ministry of Propaganda, also known as the lamestream media. And have you ever noticed that if somebody goes to a school, a kid goes in with a knife and stabs to death a teacher and 3 or 4 other kids, it might make the newspapers, in towns 50 miles away. But if a kid goes in with a toy gun and it scares somebody, then all of a sudden it's worldwide news, and you can hear about it on the 6 o'clock news in Jakarta, Indonesia, because it was a gun incident.
There's a program called Zero Tolerance, that guns are absolutely the worst thing that could happen, certainly no guns in schools. And we keep sticking to that zero tolerance policy, even though if teachers and principals that had guns at the time of these attacks on the students at schools, they could have been a lot less, a lot fewer casualties. There was interesting. There's a mall in Clackamas, Oregon, and it was posted no guns. Oregon's a concealed carry state, but this mall, under the law, said, well, it's our property and we don't want guns on it. Well, one day last year, a guy came into the mall and obviously was interested in a mass murder. He killed a couple people, but at the sound of those shots, another guy who was illegally carrying, but a good guy, came with his gun out, and when the bad guy saw the good guy with a gun, he killed himself. End of game. It just underscores the stupidity of the no guns policy. At the Aurora Theater shooting, where a number of people were killed, the murderer went by 6 other theaters that were not posted no guns until he got to the one that was his target zone, and it was posted no guns. Go figure.
Yeah, I think people that own guns, people that love freedom, whether they own a gun or not, should start buying stock in these news media organizations and keep buying it until we have enough stock to make our voice heard in the boardroom.
Well, the alternative is just to not pay attention to the newspapers. Newspapers are dying. They're, I think, in the near future, likely to only be available online.
Well, yeah, but you've still got CBS, ABC, NBC, PMS, NBC.
Well, they're declining too. It's
But not fast
a marvelous
enough.
thing to see. They're increasingly talking only to themselves.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Ron. We're going to run out of time here, so thanks for the call, Ron. So, Larry, as you can see, you know the situation in Wyoming. We're concealed carry state. We also open carry as well. Had a question about that from somebody who did not know that and was concerned about seeing somebody in a restaurant. I'm like,
Well,
nope.
as long as the gun's in a holster, what's the problem?
It was. She didn't. She just didn't know. She wasn't complaining. She just said, "Is this legal?" Because she didn't know. And I said, "Well, yeah, according to Wyoming law, we're an open carry state."
Actually, it's law in many states. Virginia, where I'm actually located, is an open carry state. It's a concealed carry state. We don't have as good a law as you do in Wyoming because you still have to get government permission. Mommy, may I? But at least it's a step in the right direction.
Well, the reason you would get one here is if you're going to take your guns out of state, because
Right.
we may be concealed carry without a permit in Wyoming, but in other states that may not be the case.
Reciprocity agreements, and
Right.
that's what you've done to
Right.
make
So
that available.
yeah, and last legislative session there was a tremendous debate on several gun bills, and it got rancorous. I mean, it was a rancorous session for many reasons, but that was one of the issues. And this issue came up about whether or not we allow school guns to be in schools. That it came up. It came up in Wyoming, which shouldn't surprise anybody. It did. It came up. It didn't pass, but it came up. So where do we go?
Hopefully it will. Utah has had that for 10 years. They've never had a mass murder in Utah.
Wow.
So obviously it works very well.
Well, we're going to run out of time, Larry. If people want more information about Gun Owners America, they can go to your website. You want to give that again?
It's gunowners.org, and we would invite them to sign up for our free legislative alerts. That way they'll get something usually weekly about what's going on in Congress, and we'll provide the ability to send an email to get in touch with your member of Congress and your senators.
Do you guys ever work on the state level?
Occasionally. We just don't have the resources to do that all that often.
Okay. I just wondered because, like I said, the debate came up on several gun bills in the general session of the Wyoming legislature last year. This year's a budget session. Bills probably won't be coming up. Anyways, Larry, I appreciate you being on.
Oh, thank you so much for the show. I really appreciate you guys.
No problem. Larry Pratt with Gun Owners of America.